Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. WWE has shared unseen footage of Jimmy Uso acknowledging Roman Reigns during the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. Jimmy entered the match at number 10 and Reigns at number 16. Jimmy and Reigns reunited at the Bad Blood 2024 Premium Live event when the multi-time tag team champion helped his OG Bloodline stablemate during a tag team match. Jimmy and Reigns proceeded to team up with the rest of the OG Bloodline and CM Punk in the Men's War Games match at Survivor Series 2024 on Instagram. WWE shared the footage of Jimmy acknowledging Reigns mid-match as he entered alongside Paul Heyman. Though Jimmy was struggling to stand, he made sure to pay his respect to the OTC. Check out the video shared by WWE. Jey Uso won the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match and will headline WrestleMania 41. His brother and long-term tag team partner, Jimmy Uso, has also been focusing on his singles career on SmackDown. According to their father, Rikishi, Jimmy should stick to competing as a singles wrestler. Speaking on the Off the Top podcast, he said, Jimmy was in action against Drew McIntyre and LA Knight on this week's WWE SmackDown. Unfortunately for the OG Bloodline member, he failed to qualify for the men's Elimination Chamber match. As McIntyre emerged victorious, the night was electric. The arena hummed with anticipation, the air thick with the promise of history. It was the Royal Rumble, a night where champions were crowned, underdogs rose to the occasion, and unexpected twists were guaranteed. But what the millions watching didn't know was that behind the scenes, a brewing storm was about to come to a head, a storm that would shake the foundation of the Bloodline. WWE cameras had captured moments throughout the evening, but the footage that was now being released was something completely unseen, a conversation, a confrontation, a glimpse into the family dynamics of the NOI dynasty that fans had been speculating about for months. Behind the curtain, the moment before the storm. The scene opens in a dimly lit hallway backstage. The camera focuses on Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, as he stands in front of a mirror. His usual confident demeanor is slightly rattled, his expression more focused than usual. He adjusts his title belt, running his hand over the gold and the sleek design of the championship. He's ready, but something is clearly bothering him. Roman Reigns has always been a man who carried the weight of his family on his shoulders. The Bloodline wasn't just a faction, it was a dynasty. His cousins, Jimmy and Jey Uso, were part of that legacy. But in recent months, cracks had started to appear in what seemed like an unbreakable bond. The tension was palpable, and tonight, Roman knew that something had to give. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps interrupts his thoughts. Roman turns, and the camera pans to reveal Jimmy Uso, his eyes burning with intensity. Jimmy's appearance is slightly different tonight. His usual swagger is gone, replaced by an unspoken sense of determination. His fists are clenched at his sides, his face unreadable. Jimmy Uso, you want to talk about this, Roman? The challenge in Jimmy's voice is unmistakable. Roman raises an eyebrow, clearly aware of the tension between them. The last few months had been filled with subtle jabs, passive-aggressive remarks, and unspoken resentment. Jimmy had always stood by Roman, but lately, the cracks in their relationship had become hard to ignore. Roman, as always, maintains his composure. His face remains stoic, but there's a fire behind his eyes. This moment was inevitable. Roman Reigns, talk about what, Jimmy? Jimmy steps closer, the intensity of his gaze unwavering. The space between them narrows, but Roman doesn't flinch. He stands tall, a giant among men. Yet, in this moment, the familial bond between them feels strained, stretched thin like a wire about to snap. Jimmy Uso, I'm done being in the shadows. Roman, I'm done being the second choice. I've had enough of standing behind you. You call yourself the tribal chief, I get it, but what about me, what about us? There's a rawness to Jimmy's words, an edge of frustration, but also a deep desire for acknowledgement. The camera zooms in on Roman's face, capturing the weight of the situation. Roman's hand instinctively tightens around the championship belt, his eyes narrowing slightly. He wasn't used to being questioned, not by anyone, least of all by his cousin. Roman Reigns, you think this is about you, Jimmy? You think this is about who stands where in the family? Roman's voice is calm, but the authority is clear. The tribal chief does not like being challenged, especially by someone who, in his mind, should have known his place by now. Roman Reigns, I've carried the weight of this family. I've made the decisions. I've led the bloodline to where it is now. You think that's just a coincidence? The tension in the air thickens, and for a moment, neither man speaks. The silence is deafening, both men standing face to face, the weight of their shared history hanging in the balance, but then, without warning, Jimmy speaks again, this time with more conviction, his voice rising with every word. Jimmy Uso, you ain't the only one who's sacrificed for this family, Roman. I've been here through it all, I've put in the work, hell, I've taken the beatings right alongside you, but I've never gotten the credit, I've never gotten the respect, I've been the one who's been left behind while you played king. Roman's jaw clenches, and for a split second, there's a flicker of something like regret, but it's quickly replaced by his usual cold, unrelenting demeanor. He steps forward, his presence imposing, but Jimmy doesn't back down. Roman Reigns, I built this empire, you've been along for the ride, and now you're questioning me? But Jimmy, undeterred, takes a step closer, his voice unwavering. Jimmy Uso, I'm not questioning you, Roman, I'm asking for what's mine, I'm asking for what you promised me. We've been through thick and thin, and yet, here I am, still playing second fiddle to you. I need to know, am I part of the bloodline, or am I just an afterthought? The camera captures the moment, the raw emotion in Jimmy's words, the vulnerability of a man who feels betrayed by his own blood. There's no turning back now. Roman stares at Jimmy for what feels like an eternity, the silence hanging heavily between them. Finally, Roman breaks the silence with a low, menacing chuckle. Roman Reigns, you want respect, Jimmy, you want to be the star, fine, but remember this, you don't get to choose when you want to step up. This isn't some game, this is real, and if you want to prove yourself, you'll do it on my terms. The bloodline doesn't bend to anyone, not even you. Jimmy's expression hardens. His eyes flare with defiance, but he doesn't back down. Roman's words cut deep, but Jimmy knows one thing for sure, this fight was far from over. The family ties were strained, but the fire in Jimmy's eyes told a different story. Jimmy Uso, then prove it, Roman, prove to me that you're the man you say you are. Prove to me that you can handle everything that's coming for you, because I'm done playing your second fiddle. And with that, Jimmy turns and walks away, leaving Roman Reigns standing there, the weight of his own words settling in. The camera lingers for a moment on Roman's face, his jaw set, his eyes dark with thought. He had just been confronted by his cousin, his blood, but there was something else in Jimmy's words. A challenge. A spark of rebellion that Roman couldn't ignore. The Royal Rumble match, the aftermath. The Royal Rumble match continued, but the dynamic between Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso had shifted irrevocably. As Roman made his way to the ring to defend his title, the air seemed charged with something unspoken. The crowd roared, the lights blazed, and yet for Roman the real battle wasn't in the ring, it was back in that hallway. In the weight of Jimmy's challenge as the Rumble match progressed, fans could feel the subtle shift in the energy surrounding the bloodline. Jey Uso, still loyal to Roman, noticed the tension in the air, but Roman kept his focus. Meanwhile, Jimmy's absence from Roman's corner was felt, but there was no time to dwell on it. Roman had a championship to defend, and defend it he would, but the shadow of that conversation lingered as the match reached its climax. Roman found himself facing off against some of WWE's top contenders, but his mind kept drifting back to Jimmy's words. His thoughts were interrupted by the roar of the crowd as the final moments of the match unfolded, with Roman standing tall, victorious once again. But as Roman celebrated his hard-fought victory, there was one thing that remained clear: the bloodline was fractured. Jimmy's challenge had been issued, and it was only a matter of time before the battle between them would come to a head. This behind-the-scenes footage was part of a series WWE had decided to release to give fans an exclusive look at what went on backstage during the Royal Rumble, a moment that hinted at the unraveling of the most dominant faction in WWE history. Fans were left with more questions than answers, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in the saga of the Bloodline. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.